I'm getting bored, man. You want to come over and play G.I. Joes?
I would love to.
What's up, y'all? What it is, what it do? Welcome back to the channel. You are rocking with the OG Unc Viper. Thank you for returning, or welcome for the first time, whichever it is. Today, this segment of Quick Venom, that's when I drop clues and knowledge on how to collect, or tips, or exchange. Y'all drop something on me, man, something I'm missing. Because this two-way collecting can get very hectic, man. Especially when you just love the vintage and you're a nostalgia freak like myself when it comes to G.I. Joe, and you just want to return to that 80s vibe, that early 80s vibe, mid 80s vibe, late 80s vibe, maybe even early 90s vibe, but that's a lot of that miss me. But anyways, it can get very expensive, especially when you start niche collecting and you start to want to get your figures more in better shape or complete, like those guys right there. And like this R Striker, you want to start getting your stuff in the best condition. Like that mobile base that needs some work. But anyway, collecting vintage, if you're just getting into it or jumping in, collecting individually can get very expensive, especially when you're trying to get the key pieces like this guy. And if you're just jumping into classified right now, that can be mean. You might need to, how you fund it might need to be classified, how you come up with that money. Because when I jumped in, Serpentor was only like $1.70. I got mine for under $1.70. Now, this is about what you're going to pay. You might can get it cheaper, but if you're into the high-end stuff, like the 1/6 scale, the premium figures that's out, or like the 112, those companies that make the high-end stuff, you're gonna spend. But catching up with those HasLabs, that's rough, and that's what people like myself are trying to do: catch up on the HasLabs, which is a journey. But for the most part, the easiest thing to do is match up your faves, you know. That's what me and a lot of people like me love to do. Even since this picture, I've improved some of my vintage figures. Like, I got a better Zartan now, who's got the thigh pads. He's 100% complete. The one that I have, well, I have several now, but anyway, it's all about fixing up my collection, making it better, trying to fill in all the holes. Matching up the faves, like Recondo was one of my favorites growing up. He's one of the first figures I remember just looking at saying, wow, this thing really looks cool. This guy really looks cool. I just thought he looked so cool. He looked a lot like my uncle, who represented our native side very strong. Long live the Sioux. But he looks a lot like my Uncle Bernie, who was our chief. Anyway, this is what a lot of guys like me like to do. We like to match up all of our vintage to what Classified has done, what Hasbro's done with Classified, especially with the retro line. Even some of the stuff is walking that tight walk with the retro. And back to collecting. The 1/18 scale, one of the best ways to jump ahead is buying lots and collections off other people. Now, if you're selling off a collection from something else, it's easy to come up with the funds, but if you're not and you're on a budget, the best way to do is take your time. Just take your time, homie. You know, buy them individually and try to get good ones as you go. But if you can buy large amounts, that's where you can save money, actually, like this. And when you're army building, that's the worst, because all of the army builders are the most expensive for the most part on a regular base, especially like bats. Trying to get bats in decent condition without the broken hand and all that other stuff, that's hard to do. But if you can get bundles like this, you might could save $1 or $2 and come out decent. But you're gonna have to spend a few dollars just to get a good deal. So yeah, the best way to jump ahead in a collection is buy a lot. But when you get play sets and vehicles, now that can be hectic or easy depending on what play sets you're after. Now, if you want a flag, well, you're just gonna have to spend a lot of money. But if you're just trying to get like a base, and you can get those for $100 some. But things like the Terradome, since COVID, pre-COVID, these things were like $300, $500 at the most. Now they're like $3 at the least. And you know, vehicles, depending on what vehicles you're looking for in the 1/18 scale for G.I. Joe, they're not too hard to find. Getting them in good condition, that's a whole nother thing. They can get expensive if you want them in premium condition and pretty much flawless, because you're talking about stuff from the early 80s, bro. You know, early 80s. So getting them in good condition and finding the most iconic ones in premium condition, like the Vamps and the All Strikers, that might be a little harder to do. But vehicles are out there, but you might have to dig a little deep if you want to get them in good condition the further you go back. But you know, we got the 25th anniversaries like that came out for like the Jets, like the Rattler and the Sky Striker. But if you want the originals from the 80s and you want them in good condition, you're gonna have to dig a little deeper. So if you can find them in part of a lot sale or collection, you can make out better that way. And as far as like alternative vehicles, when it comes to the Dreadnoks, if you're a Dreadnoks lover like me, we are not above grabbing up all kinds of miscellaneous motorcycles as long as they look decent, customizing them if need be, because you know, they're a biker gang. So ain't nothing wrong with slapping a Dreadnought on a motorcycle, something like that. It doesn't make it look goofy, make your collection look goofy or non-canon. Besides, it's a biker gang. So, gang. You dig? So, yeah, the Dreadnoks, they can take their own life. But let's go to 1/12 scale vehicles. Got a couple myself, mostly Hasbro, but you do not have to stick with Hasbro when it comes to 1/12 vehicles. There's so many aftermarket companies out here now. But me, myself, I'm pretty happy with everything that Hasbro's came out with. From the Vamp to the All Striker. It wasn't the best effort in my book, but I'm not like pissed off like a lot of people are, like crazy, like pissed. I mean, if anything, you can go to Gridiron. I mean, it's not this. It's definitely not this iconic look right here. But if you want that look, it's not hard to get, because Gridiron Studios basically made a carbon copy of the thing. They also made a way for you to turn your All Striker into a more vintage looking buggy itself, which I'll show that in a few minutes. But see, Gridiron Studios here, they really went after Hasbro's vintage heart far as vehicles. Like, this thing is definitely a lot like Cobra's vehicle, swamp vehicle from back in the day. And then they made all types of things like, this is dope, this personnel carrier tank type vehicle, which you can make a SWAT Cobra. There's so many things you can do with this. So many variations and add-ons they have for these vehicles. They can make you dig into your pocket a little bit, but I say they definitely worth it, 100%, because it takes a lot of material and time to make these things. So you're definitely gonna have to pay a few bucks for them. And there's so much competition out here in the 112 scale vehicle world. And there's a lot of cool stuff like this Ramen Racer that's got this Mad Max type alternative vibe to it. That thing is dope, but I don't even mind having. I'd rather have this one, this regular one, or maybe both, because that other one just screams Red Knox. You ain't got to do much to it, just buy it, and that thing is Red Knox, and this is something else. Then you got this van, which has also a Mad Max type alternative option to it. Even got an A-Team type option, so that thing is dope. But if you don't want to spend that kind of money, you can always catch these on sale as of now. Like this is the regular price, $75 on Walmart. But you can take these and go straight to the people at Gridiron Studio and turn them into something like this for a few extra bucks. You could really transform these Jeeps, give them a whole new identity. You can build them for your Dreadnoks, your Iron Grenadiers, anything you want to do, or just straight Cobra, keep it Cobra. But there's so many variations, and you got so many different add-ons that can turn these things into something totally different than just a plain regular little Stinger that that Hasbro gives you. And thank goodness for Gridiron Studios. They definitely can enhance your whole experience as far as your Hasbro vehicles and the stuff that they make themselves. So shout out to them. And I will be spending some money with them. Because like I said, as far as the All-Striker goes, this is what you can do to it to bring back the nostalgia. And here is what Gridiron Studios sell to help you with that. That cannon looks almost identical to the old one, but it's got the upgraded modern little camera there, communications, satellite, and it's dope. I might do this to mine, or get an extra one, because I want to keep some of my stuff original. So I might do that. But as far as enhancing, I will be doing this to one of my trouble bubbles. But yeah, with summing it up, this is just so much that you can do. Yeah, there's a lot that can be done, but with that said, I'm gonna wrap things up right here, man. I really hope you enjoyed, or I was helpful in anybody who's starting out or getting back into the whole G.I. Joe collecting thing. These tips and tricks should help you on either end, whether you coming into it hot with a lot of bread, or you're on a budget. Either way, don't go too crazy. Live within your means. Collect how you want to. Don't be influenced by other people. So keep loving, keep living, and keep collecting. Peace.